Hi, John Everett here, local page one with a top-of-the-line farmers insurance agent out of Prosper, Texas. Daniel Duberstein. Daniel, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Mr. Everett?
Fine, thank you. And I can tell you're from Texas, I'm from Vegas. We don't use the mister a whole lot, although my hair is a little lighter than it used to be. But thank you for that. You guys are
You're
polite.
welcome.
We appreciate that. Daniel, the topic of our hangout today is insurance tips for folks that are buying homes back in the Texas area. And as an insurance agent standpoint, you're going to share some of the tips that a new homeowner or an existing homeowner might want to take into consideration before they purchase a home. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right. Well, Daniel, we're going to jump right in. So if you would share some of the tips with us that new homeowners and existing homeowners might want to consider, you have the platform, my friend.
All righty. A few things that are really easy to remember. First of all, one of the really important ones is how far the fire hydrant is away from the home. You typically want it to be at least 1,000 feet away from the home, and you prefer it to be, if you can, 500 feet away from the home. Another thing you want to look at, is there any uncleared brush within 50 feet? Is there any designated brush within 150 feet? So if you're backed up and your house is backed up to a forest, if it's more than 150 feet away, you should be good. But if it's less than that, then that could be a problem. Another thing is you want to look as far as the fire stations. Make sure they're within 10 miles. Actually, 5 miles is even better, but make sure they're at least within 10 miles of where you are. That makes a big difference on your rate. You could, in the city that you're in, basically look to see how many fire stations are in that city, and that'll kind of help with your risk rating. Another thing you want to look at is how old is the roof shingles. Most people are going to have composition shingles, and basically you want to look at to make sure. And if you have a hail-resistant roof, that's even better. That gives you even a bigger discount. But you want to see how old the roof is. Typically, if it's 5 years or newer, it's going to give you a bigger discount on your homeowner's insurance. Another thing you want to go look at is the city. Do some research on the city that you prefer, that you're going to be moving to. So one thing you want to look at is the risk factor. If number 1 is the best risk factor, number 10 is the worst. So have your agent check and see, or I can check and see what your risk factor is in that city. Typically, you want to be a 1, a 2, or a 3, but if you're around a 7, 8, 9, or 10, it's a high risk, and that will cost more. One other thing to look at is the construction of your house. Brick is usually the best if it's fireproof or more fire resistant than regular wood or stucco. If you have a stucco home that you're going to get, you can also look at it as well, but make sure it's got masonry backing, not dry-vent backing. Anyhow, that's basically all I can tell you for today. If you want to, you can call me. 469-535-7999. I'll be glad to give you free advice. Have a safe day.
Well, Daniel, we appreciate you giving us a few tips here as homeowners. Now, question, let's just assume that I'm not the best at researching the topics that you gave me. I'm buying a home in Prosper, just outside of Prosper, any of those other areas. If I wanted to be the lazy man and bypass the research, could I call you and you give me an insurance quote so I'll know exactly how I qualify for those areas that you just schooled us in?
Sure. Yeah, I can go in there and really quickly, within probably 30 to 40 minutes, I can give you a quote on how much it's going to cost. There are a few other factors that we'll take in consideration. It will take in consideration your credit score. It will also take in consideration if you've had any claims in the past. Typically, they go back 5 years. So there will be a few things that they will overlook to see to make sure that, your risk factor. So you want to try to make sure you got a minimum amount of claims, and then also if you got a good credit score, it helps as well.
Okay, is there any cost if I wanted to have you give me a quote on my homeowners?
There's no cost at all. And it actually
Beautiful.
does a free credit, or it does a soft credit check, so it doesn't affect your credit score at either.
Excellent. Daniel, appreciate your time. Say your phone number one more time, just a tad bit slower for those of us that don't hear as quickly as you guys in Texas like to speak.
My phone number is 469-535-7999.
Very good. Well, Daniel, we appreciate your time and we appreciate your tips, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a safe and wonderful day.
Thank you.